Apple might be finally ready to shake up the MacBook lineup in a pretty big way. More and more reports over the last month or two have led to claims that Apple is working on a more affordable MacBook aimed at launching in early 2026. And this could be the company's answer to not only budget Chromebooks, the students in, middle school and elementary schools, but low-cost Windows laptops that dominate not only education, but also just the people who need the basics. And speaking of the basics, the new low-cost MacBook is rumored to feature a 13-inch display, keeping it close to the current MacBook Air in size. But don't expect an ultra-premium build this time around. Apple is said to be cutting costs where it makes sense, likely swapping out the all-aluminum unibody for something a little bit simpler, maybe a mix of aluminum and some reinforced plastics. The display will also stick to standard LCD technology, so there's going to be no fancy mini LED or ProMotion panels here, which I don't think anyone is really expecting, especially out of a budget MacBook, considering that we don't have that on the MacBook Air currently, so that's usually reserved for the pros. Still, Apple's display quality is always solid, and at a lower price point, it's an easy trade-off, and I'm expecting it to be just as good as the MacBook Air's display, which I have no problems with either, so I'm fine with that display. The real surprise comes underneath the hood. Instead of using an M-series chip like an Air or Pro, Apple could use an A18 Pro chip, the same chip found in the iPhone 16 Pro. Now that sounds weird at first, but it actually makes a lot of sense. The A18 Pro delivers great efficiency, strong single-core performance, and even Apple Intelligence support. It's powerful enough for your basic web browsing, streaming videos, video calls for work, schoolwork, and even some light creative tasks, all while keeping battery life excellent and power efficient. And if Apple pairs it with a low amount of RAM and a fanless design, it could be one of the most efficient laptops that Apple has released yet. So, what kind of performance can you expect? Well, think M1 level speed, but in a smaller, lighter, and more efficient package. It's not going to be built for 8K video exports or heavy 3D rendering, but 90% of what people actually do for work is writing emails and creating documents, and then at home they're watching Netflix and YouTube and doing some light photo edits, and it's just going to be fine for all of that. Basically, it's going to become my new go-to for those who I usually recommend the MacBook Air to. Something powerful enough to get the basics done when you need it to work, but nothing overly flashy and coming in at a good price point, which is the big question, price. Reports suggest Apple's targeting a price well under $1,000. Considering that the current MacBook Air already starts under $1,000 at $999, hopefully that means something at the $599 to $799 range. I think $599 would be great. That's right in that Chromebook entry-level Windows laptop territory. And that's exactly the space that Apple wants to tap into because, well, they don't have anything, especially laptops that are priced in that range. If they manage to hit that price, it would be the most affordable MacBook Apple has sold in years, maybe decades, and could open the door for a whole new wave of users. Apple is reportedly aiming for a release window sometime in early 2026. That would be lining up nicely with the next wave of MacBook Air updates, and it gives Apple some time to optimize macOS for A-series chips if they haven't already done so in a laptop form factor. And honestly, I could see Apple marketing this as the MacBook for everyone, which is kind of what the Air normally is for people. But now it's the MacBook for everyone. It's simple, it's portable, and it's fast enough for your everyday life. And all of this turns out to be true. This could be a massive move for Apple. It's been a long time since they've played in that true budget space when it comes to the Mac. Sure, we have the Mac Mini, which is a fan favorite, but that low cost does come with a few additional price tags that you don't see when you look at the checkout. You need peripherals, you need a monitor just to get things up and running. A MacBook has everything that you would need, and something this cheap is something that I haven't seen in quite a while. And so the key will be balancing cost and quality because even at a lower price, people still want a MacBook to feel like a MacBook. So what do you think? Would you buy a $599 to $799 MacBook if it ran off of Apple's, mobile iPhone chip and supported Apple Intelligence? Let me know in the comments down below because I think this could easily become one of Apple's most important products of 2026. This has been MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.